My son's piano teacher never charged us, and what I found in his studio horrified me. My 8-year-old son Marcus had been taking piano lessons from a man named Victor for almost a year when I finally asked about the bill. Victor taught out of his home studio in a nice neighborhood about 15 minutes from our house. Marcus had found the flyer at the community center and begged me to sign him up. When I called to discuss payment after the first month, Victor laughed warmly and said he didn't charge for children's lessons. He explained that he was retired, his wife had passed away, and teaching kids gave him purpose. He said watching young people discover music was payment enough. I thought it was sweet, generous, even, so I didn't question it. Marcus loved his lessons. Every Tuesday he'd come home humming classical pieces and practicing scales on our kitchen table like it was a keyboard. Victor sent home progress reports with gold stars and encouraging notes. He seemed like the perfect teacher. But small things started bothering me around month 6. Marcus mentioned that Victor always locked the front door during lessons. When I asked why, Marcus shrugged and said Victor told him it was so nobody would interrupt their practice time. I told myself that made sense. Focus was important for learning. Then Marcus said something that stuck with me. He mentioned that Victor had a special room in the back that was always locked. Marcus asked about it once and Victor said it was just storage for old instruments. But Marcus said he could hear sounds coming from behind the door sometimes, humming, like recordings playing on repeat. I started paying closer attention when I dropped Marcus off. Victor's house was always immaculate. The lawn was perfect, the windows were clean, and classical music played softly from inside. But I noticed Victor never invited me in past the entryway. He'd take Marcus by the hand, thank me for being on time, and close the door before I could even see the piano. One Tuesday, I arrived 20 minutes early because my meeting ended sooner than expected. I figured I'd wait in the car, but then I noticed something strange. The blinds in the front room moved slightly, like someone had been watching for my car. Then Victor appeared at the door looking flustered. He said Marcus wasn't quite finished with his lesson and asked if I could come back in exactly 20 minutes. His tone was polite but firm, almost urgent. I drove around the block and parked on a side street where I could see Victor's house. For 15 minutes, nothing happened. Then I saw Victor's silhouette in the window, pacing back and forth. He checked out the window 3 times in 10 minutes. When I returned at the normal pickup time, Victor was smiling again. Marcus ran out excited about a new song he'd learned. Everything seemed fine, but that night, Marcus said something that made my stomach drop. He said Victor had been asking him questions, not about music, about our family, about whether daddy lived with us, about whether mommy had a boyfriend, about whether anyone ever came to our house after dark. I asked Marcus how long Victor had been asking these questions. He said since the beginning. The next Tuesday, I told Victor that Marcus was sick and couldn't make his lesson. Then I drove to Victor's house anyway and parked down the street. I waited until Victor left to get his mail. Then I walked up to his back door. I don't know what I was thinking. I just needed to see inside that studio. The back door was unlocked. I stepped into a small hallway that led to the main house. The piano room was on my left, exactly as I'd imagined it. Sheet music on the stand, metronome on the shelf, photos of smiling children covering one entire wall. Dozens of photos, maybe 100. Kids of all ages sitting at the piano, some recent, some faded with age. Each photo had a small label underneath with a name and dates. I recognized Marcus in one of them from just last month. Then I saw the locked door Marcus had mentioned. It was slightly open, like someone had left in a hurry and forgotten to secure it. I pushed it open and found stairs leading down to a basement. The humming sound Marcus described was coming from below, not music, something else, something mechanical. I took out my phone and turned on the flashlight. The stairs creaked as I descended. The basement was cold and smelled like chemicals. The first thing I saw was a wall covered in children's drawings, hundreds of them, all signed with first names and ages. The second thing I saw was a desk with files organized alphabetically. I found the M section and pulled out a folder labeled with my son's name. Inside was everything. Photos of our house from different angles, screenshots of my social media, notes about my work schedule, Marcus's school, and the fact that I was a single mother. A printed map with our home address circled in red. And at the bottom of the folder, a calendar with a date circled 3 weeks from now. Next to the date, Victor had written 2 words, because the rest of the story is on my channel or linked below.